Will, your trash was found where somebody was killed.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay? That's what we're talking about here.
On April 17th of 2017, Russell Sloan, a local caretaker, was taking his dog out for a walk through the woods of Alsea, Oregon, a simple lumber town with a very small population. As he entered a more secluded area, he found a body. He got close and even poked her hand to make sure what he was seeing was real. After confirming it was definitely a dead body, he called the authorities. The body belonged to a female, probably in her 20s, and it seemed like she had taken a shotgun blast to the head. She was then identified as Anna Repkina, a 27-year-old woman from Moscow who had recently moved to Oregon to get married. Anna Repkina was 27 years old and had grown up in Moscow, Russia. She came from a happy family. She was smart and hardworking. She had an office job at IKEA back at home. She loved traveling and she loved her cats. All in all, a happy young woman. After getting out of a 7-year relationship with her high school boyfriend, Anna was ready to find a connection with someone new. So she joined a Russian dating site and began meeting people online. This is where she would meet Will Hargrove. Will Hargrove was 26 years old, and his friends remember him as being a charismatic and likable guy. His former roommate describes him as someone who could easily talk his way into and out of what he wanted, and being a jokester. He was a big superhero fan who dragged his friends to all the Avengers movies, and he also loved Star Wars. He had a job working as a mechanic at a car dealership, which he was quite passionate about. Everyone remembers him as being a really fun guy to be around. Will said to several of his friends that he was an ex-Marine and had been stationed in Russia for a long time, where he had developed a liking to the country and the culture. This is why he joined a Russian dating site. As soon as they met, there was a spark. Despite the time difference, they talked for hours on Facebook and on the phone. They would talk about music, especially rock, which was something they were both quite passionate about. They'd also send each other memes. It was just a normal and healthy connection between two people who liked each other. They quickly fell in love and began planning a life together, exchanging hundreds of texts every day, as well as hours of video chatting. They started to explore the possibility of Anna going to Oregon, which she did. In December 2016, Anna got on a plane and flew to Oregon to meet Will in person and spend Christmas with him. They spent 10 days together and everything seemed to be going well. They drove to the coast, they posted pictures together on social media, and they looked really happy together. So happy, in fact, that at the end of her trip, Will surprised Anna with an engagement ring. So when she flew back to Russia, they were planning a wedding and Anna's official move to Oregon. Over the next few months, Anna would post about her wedding dress and how she'd found what she was looking for, how excited she was, while Will was in charge of finding a venue and getting their marriage license. However, amidst all the wedding preparation, someone else entered the picture, but it wasn't someone new. It was Michelle Chavez, aka Will's girlfriend. Michelle met Will one night while she was working as a taxi driver. She picked him up from a bar and they instantly connected. Michelle was having problems at home with her husband at this point, so she started a relationship with Will. She says he had a way of talking to her that made her feel special and that he was very sweet. Soon enough, Will was living with Michelle, renting a spare room in the house she still shared with her husband and their kid. As a promise that she would finalize things with her husband soon and they'd be together alone at last, Michelle gave Will her wedding ring. However, she was taking her time leaving her husband, so Will decided to make her jealous by going online and talking to other women. This is how he met Anna. When Anna visited Will, they were actually sleeping at Michelle's house, since that's where he was living. But Anna had no idea who Michelle was, and Michelle had to pretend like she didn't care, since her husband still lived with him as well. However, when it was planned for Anna to move to Oregon permanently in March of 2017, Michelle told Will she couldn't stay there, so he rented an apartment nearby in Chavez, where Anna and Will could live. Even with Anna finally at his side, he continued to see Michelle frequently. He was leading a double life of which Anna knew nothing about. Will told Anna he was working late, but eventually she became suspicious. And she had a reason to be suspicious. You see, Michelle had friended Anna on Facebook only to see the picture Anna uploaded of her engagement ring. It turns out it was a ring Michelle had given Will as a promise that she was going to leave her husband. It was Michelle's wedding ring he had modified and given to Anna as an engagement ring. Will had told his fiancée this ring was a family treasure passed on from his grandmother. But that was a lie. And as it turned out, it wasn't Will's only lie. He'd never been in the Navy, he'd never been stationed in Russia. It was all completely made up. He'd also lied to Anna about who Michelle was. On March 22, 2017, Michelle messaged Anna to tell her Will was still seeing her too. But Will had told Anna Michelle was a crazy ex-girlfriend who was still obsessed with him, so Anna confronted Michelle based on what Will had told her and asked her to leave them alone. March 25th of 2017 was Will and Anna's wedding day. So they drove to the location, and upon arriving there, the officiant never showed. The witnesses and Anna were told he was ill and couldn't make it, but had failed to call them. However, that was another one of Will's lies. He'd never booked the ceremony, he never got the marriage license, and he never arranged anything for the day. While on the beach where they were supposed to get married, he actually pretended to be making calls to figure out what had happened, but it was later discovered that these calls were fake. He was talking to a video game store. Anna and Will decided they'd set a new date for the wedding in mid-April, and then the couple drove to a McDonald's to pick up some food. There's actually surveillance footage of this where you can see Anna in her dress in the passenger side. Angry at Will for shoving his romance with Anna in her face, Michelle gave Will one last chance to make things right. She said he had to pick one or the other, but the double life had to stop. She'd leave her husband for good, but only if Will left Anna. She was very persistent, she hated Anna, so she pressured Will to choose her and be done with his fiancée. Will would tell Michelle he was getting rid of Anna, but she wasn't leaving, portraying himself as the victim. But this was exactly the same thing he'd done with Anna, telling her Michelle was the crazy ex-girlfriend who wouldn't get over him. Again, he was the victim, he always was. Anna probably never even got asked to leave. On April 15th, 2017, Will told Michelle he would take care of it and would have it permanently fixed by 6 p.m. on Sunday, April 16th. After that, Will turned off his phone and was out of reach for the next few hours, during which Michelle thought his final decision had been to stay with Anna. 2 days later, Anna Repkina was found dead in the forest. The scene didn't reveal much, except the lack of a struggle. Anna had been found with a shotgun blast to the back of her head. There was some garbage thrown around near her, and this was the police's only clue. One of the rubbish bags they found was a KFC bag with a receipt from a credit card transaction from only 3 days prior to the body being found, which matched the time frame the police were working with at this point. The transaction on the card led back to Kevin Thomas, one of Will's closest friends, to the point where they referred to each other as brothers. Kevin said on Fridays he and Will usually went to KFC, got food, and then would hang out.
The garbage we found was, I think, something you bought last week from KFC.
Okay.
Do you know about that?
Yeah, me and my brother go to KFC.
Go to KFC.
On Fridays.
What's your brother's name, Kevin?
Will Hargrove?
Surveillance footage put the two together at the KFC drive-thru, where Kevin paid using his card and Will paid using cash. This was the most important piece of evidence. The rubbish from that KFC trip put Will at the crime scene. But that wasn't the only revelation Kevin gave to the police. A few days earlier, Will had asked Kevin to borrow his shotgun and had still not returned it. With this information, the police went straight to Will. Will lied, of course. Before heading into the police station, he texted Michelle to tell her what she had to tell to the police, which was that he picked her up from her mother's and they drove to Alsea together, so the stories matched. But the biggest lie Will told to the police was he had nothing to do with Anna, he didn't know her. He said he met her downtown in Corvallis and that they barely knew each other.
What do you know about her?
Almost nothing.
How'd you guys meet?
Met her downtown Corvallis.
Just walking around?
Yeah, on 2 dates, and then I told her it wasn't going to be anything more than that. And I was happy to keep hanging out with her, but that was all it was going to be.
How long ago was that?
Last time I saw her was middle of March.
Middle of March.
She decided to put on Facebook that we were engaged.
She posted that?
Yeah.
After 2 days?
Oh yeah, and it brought hell down upon me.
From who?
Michelle.
But the investigators quickly told him the rubbish bag found put him on the scene.
Oh. Will, your trash was found where somebody was killed.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay. That's what we're talking about here.
You guys are looking at me for this?
Your trash, like my partner said, was found there.
Your stuff was found at a scene where somebody died.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking to you, there's a lot of inconsistencies with your story about what happened.
And that's where he realized he'd been caught and that he was about to be arrested.
Okay. So, William Hargrove, I need you to stand up and put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for the murder of Anna Repkina.
So, what really happened? Well, on April 16th, just after 4 p.m., Will called Michelle to tell her he'd been away on a trip with no signal, but he was back now. But he told her he hit a deer with his car and needed help because he had a flat tire. He was just passing Alsea, where he's seen buying some snack and cigarettes while he waits for her. When Michelle got there, he told her that he and Anna had gotten into an argument, and Anna had finally gathered her things and left. After that, they both got into Will's car and drove to a more secluded spot, where she said they had sex and made up. Anna was finally out of the picture, just like Michelle had wanted, so she didn't ask any more questions. After a few minutes, they drove back to Michelle's car and went their separate ways. The investigation points to Anna being killed sometime at noon on April 16th, just before Will called Michelle, who was at her family's house celebrating Easter Sunday. So when the two met up in Alsea, Anna was already laying somewhere in the woods until she was found the following day. After meeting up with Michelle to make up, Will is seen at several different ATMs withdrawing money. It was later discovered he was actually taking money from Anna's bank account and using it to go on shopping sprees. Surveillance caught him buying cigars and expensive Lego sets, such as the Star Wars one. But it wasn't the only thing he used the money for. Will's car insurance was about to be cancelled because he hadn't made his last payments. The insurance company was going to cancel his policy if it didn't pay by midnight on April the 16th. After Anna disappeared, a call to the company was made from Will's phone and he handled the payments using Anna's money.
All good then? Everything's done?
Yeah, everything is taken care of. You are insured as we were speaking.
Excellent. Thank you very much, ma'am.
My pleasure. Have a good night, William.
Something very bizarre was also found on Will's search history after Anna went missing. He was researching time traveling. He went on several sites about the topic and actually got in contact with a couple of people who claimed they could help him. He said he needed to travel back in time to fix a horrible mistake a friend had made on April 16th. But nobody could help him at this point. He'd made a mistake and he had to face the consequences. Investigators also looked into Michelle, since she had a strong motive and had seen Will the day Anna was killed. She was brought in for questioning too, and initially said what Will had told her to say.
And he picked you up at your mom's house at that time?
He did.
Okay.
But then she admitted that was a lie.
That's a little bit of a lie. He called me. He was going to pick me up. And then he did.
I want you to know right now that Will's under arrest for murder.
Okay.
When she was told Will was arrested for killing Anna, she didn't seem surprised. The police even asked her why she wasn't more upset.
How are you not extremely upset right now to know that the person who you were romantically involved with?
I am very upset right now. I'm very upset right now. I don't understand how that can be a person that I have spent the last year and a half with.
But she just said that she was numb at the time and she couldn't understand what they were telling her. When the trial started, the defense tried to point the finger at Michelle, saying all three of them had been at the scene together, and after an argument, Michelle had taken the shotgun from Will and shot Anna. Michelle actually had Anna's phone with her, although she says it was Will who gave it to her the day before he was arrested. Her phone also pinged the location of the crime scene about a month before Anna was murdered. She claims Will had taken her there, and she knew nothing about the place or what he intended to do. Plenty of evidence was found in Will's car. His friend's shotgun was in the back of the car, and it was only his fingerprints and DNA on it. There was also surveillance footage of Will and Anna driving to Alsea. On another surveillance video, while he waited for Michelle to arrive, there's something on the side of Will's head that suggests it was either blood or dirt. Will's phone pinged at the crime scene at 4:30 on the day of the murder, when he called Michelle to ask for help. She was at her mother's house and had been there since the morning, so there was nothing pointing towards her being there at all. It all seemed to be Will's and only Will's work.
Thank you, Jillian. A Corvallis man is facing at least 25 years in prison after he was found guilty of murdering his Russian fiancée after an ultimatum from another woman. It didn't take the jury long to convict 30-year-old William Hargrove after 3 weeks of testimony.
In October of 2019, Will Hargrove was found guilty of the first-degree murder of Anna Repkina. He was also charged with identity theft and second-degree theft for the money taken out of her account. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 25 years.